Rwanda has demonstrated consistent strong performance in the World Bank Doing Business rankings in recent years, with good progress made across all the key indicators. Following significant changes to the methodology of the World Bank Doing Business report, Rwanda has dropped 14 positions in the 2015 report.
The changes have meant that now Rwanda has ranked 46th globally, despite the previous year, which had seen Rwanda ranked 32nd. In fact, a lot of this is attributed to the changes in the methodology that have been used, which, when put into last year's performance, ranks Rwanda 48th. And so we witness a very strong showing in the sense of two-step improvement. Beyond the ranking, as the government, we actively continue to maintain a practical link between these reforms and the actual reality on the ground in the way that it impacts on improving the business environment for the business community in terms of the lowering of the transaction costs, whether it's time, whether it's money, and effort for actually doing business.
Rwanda has made major leaps in access to credit, moved from 13th to 4th position in the world. Dealing with construction permits, moved from 85th to 34th position. And resolving insolvency, moved from 137th to 101st position. There has, however, been a significant drop in enforcing contracts, moved from 50th to 62nd position, and trading across borders moved from 157th to 164th position. And the biggest decline in starting a business moved from 72nd to 112th position.
There are different layers. The first one is always to start these reforms and put them in place. The second one is always to implement them and make sure that they translate into real gains in terms of your economic gains in terms of doing business in the country. And the third level is always in terms of consolidating them and making sure that they're entrenched in the system and that now we can build on them to increasingly make it better.
Calculation of the ease of doing business rankings is from the regulatory best practice. This replaces the ordinal ranking based on percentile, which only took into account the distribution of economies and not the actual distance to the best practices.
The message is a positive one. The progress has been positive. Your scores on the distance to frontier measure have improved. You are very high in the ranking for an African country, in the top 3. Within the continent of Africa, Rwanda has undertaken, since 2005, Rwanda has undertaken more reforms than any other African country. This is actually a good story. And I understand that there's this feature of the recalibration of the ranking, but that should not undermine the story that the investment climate in Rwanda is very strong, that Rwanda remains at the cutting edge of investment climate reforms, and investors should hear that message.
In the overall performance, Rwanda is still the best performing country in the East and Central Africa and third easiest place to do business in Africa. First in the continent being Mauritius at 28th position globally, followed by South Africa at 43rd position globally.
This economy continues to rely very strongly, first and foremost, on the local Rwandan investors, entrepreneurs that are growing businesses, nurturing them and seeing them prosper. But that's not enough. It's our responsibility to continue to attract foreign investors to come and complement the efforts of Rwandans. And we're continuously seeing that, whether it's in energy, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in tourism, whether it's in health services, across the board. You're seeing a continued interest into our economy.
I really appreciate the government of Rwanda that they have provided a very, very easy way for investor. They're very friendly. They make things simple. I remember the first time when I decided to do business here. Only one day I set up my company, open bank account, everything was done. So they make it very easy for investor. More people will come in different sectors, because the climate, the investment climate here is good. And it's, for me, you know, in Rwanda, I met so many government officials, and they are so friendly, they are so helpful, and they don't just talk. You know, whether business or government official, you know, many people talk, but they don't act. But what I found here is people talk and they act on it.
Kigali is becoming, and we strive and we aim to have it as a service hub, a financial hub, a logistic hub. With those three, you can imagine what other supporting industry to join. This is what we are seeing happening in the city. Some of them are already on the ground, others are still in the papers, drawings, study, business planning. I would invite people to see in the next 5 years. We're quite sure that the city of Kigali will change, it will have another face.
According to the World Bank, the report is a call to Rwanda to implement foolproof strategies to improve the business environment for local entrepreneurs that has produced tangible results.
The doing business team, when they think about doing these measures, they have a particular firm in mind. They don't actually look at the real firms operating in any different economy. They take a stereotype of a firm that has got over 100 employees, a firm that's got a certain type of turnover. And as it happens, the kind of firm that they use as their model for assessing this particular indicator is the kind of firm that does have to buy an electronic billing machine, even if that's a very small proportion of the overall number of firms in Rwanda.
The stage we are at today in Rwanda across the board is the level of consolidating the reforms that have been undertaking over the last 15 years. There are continuously new ones that are coming up as we get better, as we improve. We are continuously identifying new areas of improving, and that will not stop.